Hey y'all, welcome to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, fringe candidates, and generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
Oh man, this has been a week for this. This has been like a week long of celebration as long as you don't read other news.
Yeah, come listeners, bask in our little hovel light
Yeah,
away
just
from what is actually happening
come
in the
inside our
news.
marmot den. It's awful in here. But this week we got not one, but two major third-party candidates announcing they are now running independent.
Is one esteemed anti-vaxxer RFK Jr.?
Oh, as of today, RFK Jr. announced that he was running independent because the Democratic primaries are fixed. And by that he means an incumbent Democrat's running in the primaries. You're gonna have a hard time.
And by incumbent, we mean the president?
Right. The president is running. It's gonna be a little tough. But also, not enough people like you, Bobby. That doesn't mean things are rigged. That just means that you're in the wrong lane.
What I would give to have this discourse and vocab at my disposal as a 15-year-old when I couldn't get a date to save my life.
Yep.
It's rigged. Everything is rigged.
Just running up to boys and be like, the system's rigged. I know it. You tell me why George Soros won't let me date anyone.
I don't have to work on myself.
No, that's for chumps and successful people. I'm just gonna get bitter and quiet. So RFK Jr. announced today he's running independent. He has informed the Libertarian Party that he will not be going after the presidential nomination, which surprised the fuck out of me. Especially because it looked like the Libertarian Party was trying to circle the wagons around him to make him join, but he is not. And on the same level, Dr. Cornel West has dropped out of the Green Party primary, making this his second party change in 4 months to run independent.
Listen, you know how when you know you need to go to therapy, but you're still finding the right person?
Right.
Or just maxing out what your insurance allows in terms of free visits.
Yep. I went to college too, yes. But Zaina Day, who's a friend of the podcast, had a really, really good point about why he is probably running independent, and that's it's a lot easier to run as a president as an independent than it is as a party that does not have ballot access in every single state. So more than likely that's his reason. It's something he probably should have figured out earlier than now, because the Green Party as it stands is what's the word I'm looking for? Fucked. Really fucked. As of right now, Jill Stein and Amaju Baraka are currently working on trying to find a celebrity person to fill the Cornel West shaped hole in the Green Party, because the 12 remaining candidates, not great.
And listeners can go back to our Green Party episode.
I mean, well, that's from 2020. I'm talking about now. Now is a whole batch of new folks. My personal favorite is a guy who goes by the name of Avatar Davi. He telepathically speaks to dragonflies, or just one. He's only insinuated that there's one that he is telepathically linked with. Yeah, he actually, of all the candidates, I'm like, I want you to not be a cult leader. If this is your thing that you just commune with nature and you can somehow afford to live in New York City, I want to know what you're doing. Clearly, you're good with money. And
I want that person to run locally for state rep or neighborhood council. That's just the kind of person where you could do a lot of good locally, and where people can be like, oh yeah, that's my representative, and I run into him for coffee and I tell him that the rent is too high, and he tells me that he tells Greg the dragonfly that,
and he agrees. He's a dragonfly, but he reads the news.
Dragonflies sleep somewhere, I assume.
That is very true. But also along with this, Jordan Willow Evans of the Independent Political Report looked into the 12 people running, and when compared to the requirements of the Green Party to be a presidential nominee for them, of the 12, only one has fulfilled all of the requirements going forward, and it's a fellow named Jorge Zavala. And I recently looked at Jorge's campaign site, and he's really big into this thing called water vortex implosion system.
Go on.
I'm going to break this down for you because it's I'll just tell you what it is. So essentially, the healthiest way for you to drink water is for it to go through a vortex. That vortex is going to balance the pH, increase water solubility, reduce surface tension of the water, which is a huge issue, I know, remove antibacterial properties, neutralize chemicals that are in the water, reduce the need for herbicides and pesticides. And so how you create this water vortex is you fill your blender with water and then you blend it on high for 30 seconds and then immediately drink the water.
This reminds me of hearing from friends who went down to Ecuador, and there would be those guys like straddling the equator and would throw water into a bin because depending on if you're in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, like the water turns a different direction. Right. So it's like, oh, if like over on my right it's going clockwise and over my left it's going counterclockwise, but it's just like, no, you're just tip the water a little bit to get money from green, like no shame.
That is a great roadside attraction.
Yeah, but like that's not the science.
Yeah, also I'm pretty sure if you put, I don't know, polluted water into a blender, it's not, you're not going to want to drink it afterwards, and it's not going to reduce the number of chemicals that are in there or get rid
depending on the pollution. You're going to need to put it into a blender to make it drinkable. Maybe that's it.
To turn it into a liquid
factor. Yeah,
it's like closer to plasma right now, but yeah, it's not looking great for the Greens. But I guess we're gonna see who Jill Stein and her friends end up recruiting. Who knows who it could be at this point? So it's just real bad times for the Greens and the Libertarians.
Poured one out for sad environmentalist millennial socialists who desperately want to vote third party for the Greens.
Well, and you bring up the local thing, and the Green Party as of recent has gone all in on this idea that if they just get 5% in a federal election for president, then they can get campaign matching money from the government, and that's going to be the game changer for them in their view. But they're doing so at the detriment of their local affiliations. They've lost a lot of the biggest up-and-comers in the party, and now the Cornel West is gone. Who the fuck even has a chance of getting 5% as a Green?
It's so crazy because it just reminds me of how all of America is predicated on casino mentality. It's like, I'm not going to be wise with my money and just do the hard work bit by bit and build recognition and actually do good for these communities because I believe in my mission statement. It's like, nope, like pile of chips, all in, everything on black, motherfucker.
While these fucking idiots are just like, I'm just going to put 2 chips, one in the first 12, one in the second 12, so I have 67% chance of winning, and it's going to be great.
I brought $20 and that's all I'll spend, and then I'm going home for a warm glass of milk.
Oh my God. I mean, I think that's the American Solidarity Party's motto. So but those things aren't the topic of the episode today. Today's topic, this is something I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's a topic that's going to lead us back to the grain-filled plains of Kansas to tell one of the odder stories of the 2010s.
Tell me what's the matter with Kansas.
Oh my God, I'm waiting for that book to end up on If Books Could Kill, and I cannot.
Yes.
So the thing though is the information on the topic I want to talk about comes kind of in fits and starts. There's not really enough for one story to be able to take up a whole episode. So I gotta kind of cobbled together a bunch of different stories, about 5 similar stories into one, sort of like Magnolia, that movie from 1999 that everyone now is obsessed with. We all know the story. John C. Reilly's a cop who loses his gun. Amy Mann wrote 9 new songs. It's the best. Una, have you seen Magnolia?
Yeah, unfortunately in the context of like a film studies 101 class.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, possibly the way one should see Magnolia, with a bunch of other students who are just like, this is the greatest film ever, and then to look back and 20 years later and be like, I don't know. There was a bit of dip in quality like around the early 2000s, guys.
I'm so worried about going back and watching it because with every movie from that, because the longest time American Beauty was my favorite movie of all times because it was the first really good movie I saw, or the first baby's first
Yes.
symbolism is what it was.
Yes. Yes.
And I
Yes.
loved it. And looking back on it now, especially with the whole Kevin Spacey thing, it is one of the creepier movies to ever win an Oscar.
Yeah.
Like Lolita is less creepy than American Beauty because at least Nabokov hated his lead character.
Right, right. And that was the point.
Yeah, right. And oh my god, for Christmas one year, my parents got me someone was printing off old drafts of American Beauty and selling them online on eBay, and they bought a copy of like one of the older drafts. It was creepier. It was so much creepier. In the original draft, Kevin Spacey's character fucks the teenage child.
Oh, of course.
And it's meant to be this beautiful thing before he gets shot. Spoilers. When I read that, I was like, I think I might be bad at picking heroes.
No, we were still under the haze of the Clinton era.
That's true.
And then 9/11 happened and we all woke up.
Joss Whedon's always going to be great. I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, and so yeah, it's I remember really liking it, but it is one of those movies where it's a million different stories and somehow they inexplicably all come together by the end, and you could write a pretty okay college paper about it. And our story is a modern story very much like that. But to make some more sense of it, I think we kind of got to go back to the first couple decades of Kansas statehood. So one of the things that makes early Kansas politics so unique is that from 1863 to 1877, Kansas was run by 5 consecutive governors in the midst of their 30s.
Ooh, so Kansas was a little bit of a startup.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a really good way to put it. So most notable of these governors would be the third governor of Kansas, Samuel Johnson Crawford. I'm going to send you a picture of Sam here. So that's 30-year-old Sam.
Oh my God.
Yep. Yeah, he is. Una, would you like to describe Mr. Sam Crawford to the folks at home?
He looks gaunt. He looks, I mean, he looks like he should be 47.
Mm-hmm. He looks like he has like little known local knowledge of a haunted mountain that you shouldn't go to.
Yeah.
He's very much balding, except on the sides.
It's like how you watch Seinfeld and then realize that George Costanza is supposed to be like 32.
Yeah, that's such a fucked up thing. But yeah, and like all of the hair that should be on his head is clearly moved to his beard, but it hasn't really decided who's going where.
Yeah, no, he has that. He just looks aged in the face in a way that that your grandparents just look like absolute hell. And it's like, they were 40. It's like, how? Well, they smoked.
Well, and Sam has a pretty good reason for looking the way he does at this point. So his early history isn't really that eventful. He was born in Lawrence County, Indiana in 1835 near the town of Bedford. He grew up on his family farm before going off to study law at the University of Cincinnati. Once he graduated, he moved to Garnett, Kansas. And he moved to Kansas in the midst of essentially what was the prequel to the Civil War, Bleeding Kansas, which I think we've talked about Bleeding Kansas before, but it was, for those of you who haven't heard of it before or listened to those episodes, Bleeding Kansas was a period in which the Union decided Kansas would become a state, but said Kansas would have to vote to decide whether they were going to allow or not allow slavery. So what happened was a ton of pro-slavery people and a ton of abolitionists all moved to Kansas at the same time and started fighting each other. Most notably was John Brown, who showed up there and just started killing people for the fun of it with his family because he fucking hated slavery and no one was going to stop him. So by the time that Samuel moves to Kansas, it's towards the tail end of Bleeding Kansas. It's already been decided, that Kansas is going to be a state. It's going to get to vote at some point. But there's a bit of a hiccup because the House of Representatives voted to add Kansas to the Union, but the Southern-controlled Senate refused to even bring up the matter. But when the Civil War started and the South seceded, all of a sudden Kansas had a straight path to becoming a state. So prior to this happening in May of 1859, 3 months after Samuel arrived at the age of 24, he attended the Osawatomie Convention, which officially organized the Republican Party of Kansas. 4 months after that, the GOP would nominate him to be a state representative, and 2 months after that, he was elected.
Okay.
However, he would not fill out his first term because when the Civil War kicked off, he resigned and immediately enlisted.
Oh, well,
So
sure. Yeah.
this is why Sam looks horrible.
Yeah. He's seen a lot of death.
He was one of those folks who enlisted early and fought often
Oh,
and
no.
did not die. So Samuel was made captain of the 2nd Kansas Infantry and fought in a multitude of battles. By 1863, he was promoted to colonel and placed in charge of the 2nd Kansas Colored Infantry. The most noble battle they would be involved in was the Battle of Jenkins Ferry, Arkansas, which sounds horrific. It's considered to be one of the more bloody battles of the Civil War, which was one of the more bloody wars in the history of the world.
Yeah.
The Union would win, kinda, but both sides were literally decimated and suffered 10% casualties on both sides. Also, during the battle, Sam's horse was shot and killed from under him.
Oh.
Yeah. Many in the 2nd Infantry were injured or killed, and accurate numbers are lost to time due to the infantry's records being destroyed during the battle. So following these horrors, the 2nd Infantry and Samuel were sent to Fort Smith, Arkansas, and saw no further fighting. And while stationed in Fort Smith, the Kansas GOP nominated Samuel for governor. He was granted leave of absence by the Army on October 1st, hopped on a train, got back to Kansas, and when he got there, he had a little more than a month to actually run for governor. But the second he arrived, he got news of Confederate Major General Sterling Price's raid on Missouri and immediately re-enlisted to fight right there, left Kansas, and went to Missouri.
Got an itch.
Yeah. So without even running for office, Samuel ends up winning the election.
Well, because everyone's like, well, obviously the war hero who's like putting his body in harm's way over campaigning.
Right.
Could have had a sweet out from the army, but instead.
It's a very smart move, yes. So without even running for office, Samuel would win. And at the end of the war, he took the oath of office and was promoted to Brigadier General of the U.S. Army. His tenure as governor is boring and dull. He doesn't do much, which is kind of what you want from a governor. You want things to just be fine, especially in post-war America. Let's just keep it.
The man has certainly earned it.
Right. Just look at him. That is the face of a man who felt a horse die under him. And he does hold the distinction of being the very first governor of Kansas to be reelected. However, he would not fulfill his second term because once again, he resigned to re-enlist and fight more wars.
Oh, because the war was still going on.
No, the Civil War was done, but now the American government is actively fighting the indigenous population for the next 5 or so decades.
Okay.
So he enlists to fight alongside General Custer in what became known as the Comanche Campaign. This was not the campaign that ended up killing Custer. But so he fights in that for a couple of years, and apparently that becomes enough for Sam. He leaves the army, moves to Washington, D.C., where he ends up practicing law, writing a best-selling nonfiction book about Kansas in the 1860s, and helped financially co-found the town of Florence, Kansas, which was named after his daughter.
Oh.
And the point of all this being is that Kansas has had experience and apparent success with youthful leadership, which might be why no one really noticed that the state constitution, what's the best way to put this? They had no rules about running for governor.
Oh, like there's no age restriction?
It is no rules, just right. There's no age restriction. I will get to all the things that are haywire about this, but at minimum, there's no age restriction to run for governor in Kansas.
So a 16-year-old could be like, let's do this.
Jump to 2018. So this is usually the part of the story where I bring someone up, we talk about their background, a little bit about their childhood if it exists, and then move on to the story. But lucky for us, almost everyone that we're talking about in this episode is all childhood all the way down. So let's start off with a guy by the name of Jack Burgesson. In 2017, Jack was a student at the Independent School, a private college prep school in Wichita that currently charges about $16,000 a year. And Jack is 16 years old. So on August 7th, he is 16 years old. He is 1 month away from starting his junior year in high school. And he's also decided he's going to be a candidate for the governor of Kansas.
Yes, poli-sci nerd. Yes, do it.
Look, everyone we're going to be talking about is a very specific kind of nerd. And I know it because I was that nerd.
Game recognized game.
Right. As soon as I saw Jack Burgesson, I'm like, I know what you're up to, you son of a bitch. I like it. So let's get this out of the way now, because the 2018 Kansas gubernatorial race is a wild, wild topic. There are so many other stories that I could be telling with this that if we were like, a Pod Save America mainstream sort of podcast, we would be focusing on those stories. There's the sudden ascension of Lieutenant Governor Jeff Collier, who suddenly becomes governor after President Trump assigns Governor Sam Brownback to a sort of generic religious ambassador position. It sounds made up. It's like the U.S. ambassador of religious intervention or something like that, or religious relations. And he kind of gets this position because in the previous years, Sam Brownback has fucked over Kansas. Sam has done what is known as the Kansas experiment, where he's financially finagled shit, and it has gone bad. It has gone very fucking badly.
He starved the state of revenues as much as possible.
Yes.
To be like, hey, look, isn't our diet working? And it's like, we're so hungry.
Yes, like
you don't need to be like this.
You're going to eat these snack wells because that's all that's in the budget. So Jeff Collier is suddenly now governor and suddenly has to run on a campaign of being the dude who was supporting Sam Brownback. And then you have the bitter GOP primary between Collier and maybe the only other person who was hated just as much as him in Kansas, Secretary of State Chris Kobach.
Oh, I remember that name.
Yeah, he's a real professional asshole, a top rank piece of shit. And so, spoiler alert on this, Kobach ends up winning the GOP primary, which sets us up for the third story, the surprise victory for Democratic nominee and state senator Laura Kelly. She ends up beating Chris Kobach by 6%, and seems to be doing such a good job. It looks like she's actually going to get reelected this year.
Hey, yeah, this is slowly coming back. I do remember this election because it was a big fucking deal, and like there was a lot of Democratic noise of being like, for the sake of all citizens in Kansas, we need to get Chris Kobach not elected.
Right. And yeah, there were a lot of people who were just like, if anyone but Chris Kobach won the nomination, Laura Kelly was going to lose. But surprise, surprise, she's done a good enough job and people don't seem to mind.
What a shock.
I know. It's almost like when you elect people like her, or, I don't know, Andy Beshear in Kentucky. When people get used to them, they kind of like them.
When things work like they're supposed to, and then people are happy.
Grumble. So
anyway, yes.
Any other podcast, we'd be talking about that epic story for at least 4 episodes. But fuck that. No, I want to talk about a teenager who's running for governor.
Niche.
So he's facing long odds, not to mention that legally he can't vote for himself. So, which I just want you to keep in your mind the whole time. Jack would credit Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders for inspiring him to run for office. He also said he was inspired by Ross Perot and Jesse Ventura.
Okay, fine, sure. Gen Zers, whatever.
Right. But he was most inspired by Senator Sanders' campaign and his ability to activate the youth. Quote, if they see someone else who is their same age running on ideas that are becoming popular nowadays, it will kind of shed the stigma away and may attract a lot more people to care about the future of our state and country. Jack also said in the event that he won, he recognized that he would have to drop out halfway through his senior year and planned to get a GED if he had to. His running mate was also his classmate from the same school, a 17-year-old by the name of Alexander Klein, who would be graduated by the time the election would be going.
Hell yeah, I would watch this movie in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
It's been made in the late 80s.
If we made this movie in the mid 2000s, I think Clark Duke would actually be a really good guy to play Jack. I don't know what Clark Duke's up to nowadays. Clark Duke might be great for it now, but
I'm imagining more a slapdash attempt to capitalize on, say, Porky's and everything, and the studio gets John Hughes to like rewrite the draft that they got their original writer to do, but John Hughes won't put his name on, and James Spader obviously is like the bestie.
God, that'd be amazing. Anyway, here's a picture of Jack.
Okay. Oh yes. Please sign
100%. It should also be said that Jack works part-time at his family's restaurant too, so even before the school year starts, who knows when he's going to have time to actually run. So suitably, Jack's platform was pretty similar to Senator Sanders. He wanted to raise the state minimum wage from $7.25 to $12 an hour. He was pro-choice, He wanted to make contraceptives easier to obtain and to streamline the adoption process. He wanted high-speed rail, and he wanted it to connect every major city within the Kansas region.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I want to go to Topeka to Omaha. That's what I want to do this weekend.
I want to do it without a car.
Right. He wanted to place a cap on campaign donations of $1,000. However, the newspapers would really focus on one of his key platform issues, and that was legalizing and taxing marijuana.
Yeah, and then look at Illinois, look at Michigan, look at these other states. We're doing great.
Yeah, the tax revenue's been pretty good.
It ain't bad.
But this was such a wild idea in 2018 that it eventually became the sole position that the media brought up whenever mentioning Jack.
Sure. And of course, he's like, this 16-year-old wants to get high legally.
This kid wants to smoke a doobie in the fucking governor's mansion.
Meanwhile, this kid is too busy. Like,
right?
his hobby is going after elected positions.
Right. If this dude is smoking weed in the fucking governor's mansion, he's waiting until he's 18 and he's paying full price because that's just the kind of guy Jack Burgesson is.
Yeah, vote for Jack.
I don't want a fucking governor's discount on my hash, man. So the thing that I actually find really interesting is Jack's gun platform, because it's not typical. So he supports gun ownership, but with the caveat that firearms training is a requirement for ownership and that training becomes more rigorous than it currently is. He especially wants extremely rigorous training for the people to get a concealed carry license. The thing that makes his gun plank so wild, though, is that he supports the arming of teachers in high schools and colleges.
Oh.
So his reasoning behind this is that there are rural schools and colleges in towns that do not have their own police force. And in those towns, it's going to take a while for the county cops or the state troopers to show up. So you might as well arm some teachers to at least keep people safe until the police get there.
It's not great. Like it's not great logic. Like it's
yeah.
The foundation is weak, as so many of these arguments are.
Right. It's a very popular topic with moderate Democrats in Alaska for expanding police funds and stuff like that, and because you have rural communities where cops could be like 2 or 3 hours away.
Right.
But yeah, for stuff like this, I don't know how much you would really gain. So after entering the race, the news would lose their shit. A teenager running for office? But these kids are supposed to be lazy murder slackers listening to doobie rap on their SoundClouds and their TikToks. Interviews.
What, are we gonna vote for him via Snapchat?
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm gonna vote for you on the blockchain, loser. So interviews came rolling in, with the biggest interview offer being a 3-minute Skype interview on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Kimmel would ask Jack if he was running in order to find a campaign manager who would be old enough to buy him beer. These are the jokes.
Because he's being interviewed by Gen Xers.
Right.
We're more interested in scoring a 6-pack than like trying to enter government and like change things for the better.
Yeah, getting a handle of orange flavored pop off was my fucking running for state senate.
Yeah, Richard Linklater isn't putting movies together about a scrappy bunch of kids who take their student government all the way to the White House.
Right. Dazed and succeeded.
Yes.
Oh, damn it. So, aside from that, because it's a comedy show, the interview does sound like it was actually pretty earnest. It looks like Jimmy Kimmel Live has deleted the interview just for the sake of, I guess, storage space on their broadbands or something. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, he was also underage, I think, when that was filmed. I don't know.
Yeah. Either which way, it's gone. It was on YouTube and now it's gone. But yeah, it sounds like, at least from the interview, that Jack is being very serious about this. He's fine with the jokes, but for him, it's a serious endeavor.
Which keep laughing, motherfucker.
Yeah, right. We'll see who's high in the mansion come November. Which leads us to a little interlude. In 2008, Reddit user Shaper PMP would post on the Best Of subreddit with their theory of the life cycle of a meme. And I bring this up because whether Jack knew it or not, he was kicking off step 1 of the life cycle, birthing a meme. Quote, "A meme is born. Almost nobody understands it, and it's barely funny when you do." Now, I'm sure people would argue that a teen running for governor is not a meme. Memes are strictly reserved for internet media, like Wargarble, or everyone getting into one sea shanty for a month. But in the technical sense of a meme or a memetic,
Is that where it comes from?
yeah,
Is that
that's exactly where it comes from.
God.
From memetic.
Incredible. Okay, continue.
Yeah. So memes have been around since culture started. Because a meme isn't just some weird internet thing or a Photoshop. It's kind of just a unique way about referencing or talking about something that at first a small group gets, but the more that you show it to other people, the more they start to get it and to spread it. It's why people refer to memes as being sort of like a mind virus, which I hate to use that term, but it's essentially what it's supposed to be.
There's no cure.
Side note, do you know who invented the term meme as we use it today?
I do not. Was it lolcats?
It was Richard Dawkins in 1975.
1975.
The idea of a meme's been around at least since, Darwinism started, but, it's...
Damn.
Yeah. So either way, step one requires a meme to start slowly, organically. You can't force it. And it would take about a month and a half, but by September 21st, 2017, the lax requirements for running for Kansas governor would result in a second teenage candidate. So Tyler Ruzich, a 17-year-old junior from Shawnee Mission North High School in Overland Park, a suburb of Kansas City, reached out to Jack Burgess. After talking, Tyler became convinced that he should also run for governor. However, Tyler would be entering the GOP primary. And what made him unique other than his age is that while Collier and Kobach ran mostly far-right campaigns, Tyler viewed himself as more of a moderate. The bummer is that his campaign site's down, and the Wayback Machine wasn't able to archive anything from it. But from interviews, we do know that Tyler supported expanding Medicaid in Kansas and called for criminal amnesty for people arrested on drug charges so long as they sought medical attention for their addictions, which is one of those things where it's like, on paper, that sounds great, but you haven't learned about how much it costs to go to substance treatment.
Yeah. I'm even just thinking of like the paperwork, like if you're unhoused, what then? How are you supposed to find adequate resources?
Exactly. Yeah. And especially in Kansas, like you're going to get some okay resources in the city, but if you're in the middle of nowhere, you're not going to have any options. And if they're saying medical treatment, a 12-step program is not going to help.
Ugh.
But still, expanding Medicaid for a Republican in 2018 is, in a post-Trump society.
Yeah.
Is pretty bold, but fuck that. 8 days later, we got a third teenage candidate running for governor.
I am Spartacus.
These are going to start coming hard and fast doing this. Get ready. So now we have Ethan Randlees, a senior at Wichita Heights High School, and he's throwing his hat in the ring. So initially he was also going to run in the GOP primary, but he changed his mind around February and chose to run for the Libertarian nomination.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the phrase
a teen in every party.
A teenage libertarian, something we all want and need.
I mean, they're all libertarians for like 8 months at least, and you just hope that they get over it.
Yeah, we all read Atlas Shrugged.
Yes. We were all terrible people for a short time.
Wait, it can be good to be selfish? I kind of like this at the age of 14.
This validates a lot of things I was already feeling.
I should build a railroad and not tell anyone. So based on his platform, this was a pretty good call. And Ethan stated his reasoning for the switch was because, quote, the Republican Party isn't receptive to younger voters, including those who want small government on all issues. And by that, Ethan meant ending all state income tax, both personal and business related, pushing pro-school choice, and he called the public school system the, quote, largest standing monopoly in American history.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna break soon and just start screaming, "Get off my lawn!"
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, public schools don't really make money, so they're not a monopoly, man.
Which is the whole point. They're a public good. They should not be making money.
That's like saying the Senate's a monopoly because there's only one. We should have multiple private senates, and you go to the one that you like most. And I hate the fact I'm literally just saying something that the Free State Project probably supports. National divorce, Una. It's the only way forward. I want a Senate sponsored by Walmart.
Well, actually, Dusty, if you get down to the senators themselves, they are owned.
I am going to eat this microphone, and that's going to be the rest of the episode. Brianna, edit nothing out. Weirdly for a libertarian, he's anti-choice.
Sure.
Yeah, except in cases of rape or if it's a life-threatening pregnancy.
Meh, meh, meh.
He wants to reduce business regulations and to reduce the sales tax percentage, which I would assume he wants to reduce to zero because that is a pretty libertarian thing, and I doubt he's going to go halfway on that. He would remove all government affiliation with healthcare, which would probably end Medicare and Medicaid in the state, if I had to guess. He supports the privatization of more roads.
How? Putting a gate on major highways?
Yeah, a corporation builds a road and then charges for it, or they rent it from the state. Essentially, just more toll roads. A thing
How about
people love.
how about the corporation just pay some fucking taxes
That's too
and that
complicated,
tax
Una.
money goes back into the asphalt to maintain those roads?
I mean, look, you don't drive a business on the road, so he would
Not
like.
with these new UPS
Oh
hovercrafts.
my
Am I right?
if we're all using drones, then we won't need the roads. On the good side, he wants to end civil asset forfeiture and decriminalize all drug use. And then there's just a general cut of government spending. He doesn't say what, just cut it. Just cut a
You know what?
bunch.
He doesn't have to. He already gets it. He's a
Mhm.
libertarian candidate. He doesn't need to
Right.
go into details.
Right.
Just
You all know what I mean.
cuts.
However, the day after Ethan's campaign began, he ran afoul of the Kansas Governmental Ethics Commission. The Wichita Eagle had found that Ethan opened up a GoFundMe page to raise campaign funds, but did so before filing with the state as a candidate or naming a campaign treasurer, which are both violations of campaign finance law.
I love it. It's like, yes, you can be 16, but you still need to do the paperwork.
Yeah, and like Jack and Tyler had already done this. Jack was his own treasurer. If I remember right, Tyler hired his dad.
Incredible.
It's like
I love both options.
it's the simplest shit, and they did it. It's not like this is 2003 and the internet's confusing. The information's there.
Jack is looking around being like, y'all are bringing my credibility down. Knock it the fuck off.
Jimmy Kimmel will not call me back. I have to work a clopen at my family's restaurant. This is the worst.
Not a clopen.
So when the Wichita Eagle asked Ethan about this, he replied, and I quote, "I don't think we're in any kind of direct violation with election law right now, honestly."
So
No, I'm not. You are.
so in terms of which candidate most likely to get a D in their civics class,
Still pass. Look, man, I'm running for extra credit. I don't know what the fuck you want. He also said he's still looking for a treasurer, which I'll say it again. Jack is his own treasurer. You could just sign your own name. So days later, the Eagle followed up with Randley's and confirmed that the commission had called him. And according to Ethan, the commission told him, quote, "I just need to file online, and I'm doing that literally right now."
God, I'd file it already if you'd stop calling me asking me if I filed it.
Now, honey, have you filed to run for governor yet? It's, it's
Mom,
that
I'm
paper.
filing it right now.
Okay, now what? Just remember, dinner's at 7. My impeccable Kansan accent. It will transport you to the land of corn and roadside Wizard of Oz wineries.
Yeah, marshmallow salads.
Oh my god, that's not so good. Damn it. So it's at this time I would like to introduce my second favorite person in this whole story. State election director Brian Caskey. Brian spent nearly all of his adult life working in the Secretary of State office in Kansas. He started out as a census liaison in 1998 and rose to the title of directing the elections in 2015. Now, I've only done a cursory look into Brian because I don't want to just uncover something horrible. So I want to hold on to this. But I have found from a cursory look that he has 3 loves in his life: his family, Kansas City Royals, and transparent elections.
Oh.
He seems to be very good at his job. His Twitter is completely bereft of the sort of election conspiracy nonsense that you see nowadays from elected officials. It's very straightforward stuff, and it's great, and I love it. Which makes what happens to Brian in 2018 all the more funny and sad. Because the media needs to reach out to ask people questions about these teenagers running for office, and you got to call someone who at least works in the elections department, and Brian's there. So, in the very article where the Wichita Eagle interviews Ethan, they call up Brian Caskey and ask him, and I'm paraphrasing here, "Hey, can a dog run for governor?" And Caskey responds because he's a fucking professional. He says, "I'm not sure how to answer that because I cannot point to a law that sets any qualifications to run for governor."
No!
So a dog has never tried to file. I don't know what would happen if one tried to. There's seriously nothing on the books that lays out anything. No age, no residency, no experience, nothing. And you can hear his pain in this. The sudden
He
realization
can't not be honest.
this
And
year is not going to go well. Like, he's going to be doing his job and really kicking ass, but every once in a while, a newspaper is going to call and be like, hey, can this Hewlett Packard printer run for office? It's connected to Wi-Fi. Does that change anything, Brian?
again, does the Hewlett Packard have a treasurer?
Yes, you can't contact it because I'm still trying to connect it to the computer and the son of a bitch won't do it. But yes. And with that being the case, another week passes and we get a fourth teenage candidate.
Bless.
This time it's Dominic Scavuzzo of Leawood, Kansas, and he's running the Republican primary. I don't know why I did that voice for his name, but it seems like, hey, Dommy Scavuzzo, you got to watch out for that kid. He'll take your thumbs.
Dummy.
So of the four, Dominic was the closest to having previous experience, mainly because he had participated in Kansas Boys State the year prior.
And now he's itching for the real thing.
Like, yeah, my God.
He's chasing that high.
I get it. I understand it, man. It's nothing but psychopaths and madness at Boys State. Once you get a taste of that, you either don't want to go back or you need it. You need it more. You get pulled over for walking and drinking a Pepsi on a sidewalk, for drunk driving, and you got to keep that world. Or at least I was at Ohio Boys State. I'm not sure if that was a federal thing or not.
Incredible.
So he's done Boys State, and he stated his intention is to study political science and then move on to law school. And in 2016, he took a field trip to see the Trump inauguration. I imagine it was very difficult to get seats. It would be easy to assume that Dominic's platform was the most in line with modern conservatism, but his campaign site isn't anywhere online. The Wayback Machine doesn't have it. The only bits
machine.
I know it's really weird that the Wayback Machine is missing this thing from 5 years ago. The only bits of policy I could find were that he is anti-choice and he supports school funding distribution reform, which I want more details of that because that's something that I usually support.
Yeah. So what's going on?
I don't know. I couldn't find anything else. I read all the newspapers. After a while, everyone just starts writing the same story that's like, hey, 4 kids are running for governor. That's weird, right? All of them like weed. Weird, right? Which was
with these kids.
That's actually the funny thing is the 4 of them were invited to a symposium at a high school that was run by a 16-year-old who just brought them all together. And the one thing they could all agree on was we need to legalize marijuana.
Yeah.
Which I don't care your Moses, man. I love it. Great. However, this is the part of the trend where people start to get a little irritated about it, where the squares are like, this isn't funny. This is a serious thing. Why the fuck are kids doing this? It's an insult. And particularly, one person ends up being the go-to person for quotes on how this is all just a travesty. And it would be a professor of the very real Quaker-founded Friends University.
Oh.
Professor Russell Fox.
A Quaker with their panties in a bunch? All of this seems very odd.
I don't think Russ is a Quaker. He just works at a university that was founded by Quakers, but I think now is independently affiliated.
Got it.
Because when I heard the name Friends University, I was like, what fucking strip mall university bullshit is this? You couldn't go to a better place, but apparently it is a respected institution. So joke's on me on that. So the papers go to Russ Fox, and he said the teens don't have any money, they don't have any name recognition to win, and quote, these kids are doing it for a stunt, and they admit they're doing it for a stunt. I could not find a single quote from Jack, Tyler, Dominic, or Ethan that they were doing this as a stunt. Everything I read from them is that they thoroughly had earnest beliefs and were going to run on those beliefs. I can't find a single thing to back up Professor Fox here.
Yeah, I don't know about Dominic and Ethan, but Jack is all in emotionally.
100%.
He is ready to drop out of school and get a GED run the state of Kansas.
Yeah, and I'm definitely gonna encourage you to include Tyler in that because he does have some quotes later on that really show how serious he is about this.
Oh,
So yeah, he is right that it is going to be a long shot and that raising money is going to be hard. Jack, during this January of 2018, announced that he had only been able to raise $300, and that was all in T-shirt donations from a local restaurant. So money was hard to come by. And yeah, they don't really have name recognition, and they also said that between school and part-time jobs and family events and volunteering, there's not really going to be a lot of time to run, at least until the summer. And the primary is not until August of 2018, so they have a couple of months to do some shit. So yeah, they're serious about it. Just calm the fuck down, Russell, you goddamn angry boner.
Yeah, either this is classic intergenerational warfare where the younger generation like are either too lazy and vaping constantly, or they're making a mockery of the system by actually getting involved.
Right, there's no winning. There's no winning
There's
with
no
Professor
winning.
Fox, except for maybe running after he's dead. You do it the right way. You run for office when your rich parents fund your campaign, and that's how you fucking do it. Anyway, at the end of October, a 15 entered the race. Joseph Tutera Jr., a senior at Rockhurst High School, a Catholic college prep private school in Kansas City, entered to join the very crowded GOP primary. That's all the information
into the GOP.
I don't know. It's like a lot of conservative kids, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's all I got. There's no other information I could find about Joseph Tutera, but he's in the race. And by this point, it kind of made sense why there's not that much information, because after Dominic entered the race, he had a nice 4 candidates there. ABC News, the Washington Post, and the BBC made their way out to Kansas to essentially cover the things that the local papers had already talked about and then repackaged it. Mm-hmm. And so after they were done doing that, there was really no need to come back when the 5th person entered. We already got the story. Nothing new.
Right.
News at 6. But I do have to shout out the Hutchinson News, which is a local newspaper in Kansas. They covered so much of the bullshit that most of the major news outlets didn't.
Nice.
They interviewed a number of these kids. It's kind of great.
Good job, local newspaper.
But what if I told you we're going to get at least one more candidate in this binge? But they're not running for governor.
We're finally getting a 6-pack. Oh, wait, what?
We're finally getting a woman running.
I was starting to wonder. It was,
yeah.
I didn't want to say anything, but like.
No, I get it. Yeah. I get it. On November 2nd, Lucy Steyer of Notre Dame de Sion High School in Kansas City entered the Democratic primary for Secretary of State.
Hey.
Shortly after, Brian Caskey's phone rang, and on the other end was the media now asking, hey, are there limits on any of the other offices in the state? Is it just as buck wild as governor? And what I assume came after like a fairly heavy sigh was the phrase, no, except in regards to state insurance commissioner, where you have to be a registered voter and, quote, well-versed and experienced in the business of insurance.
And that's it. That is the one.
That's it. But other than that, you pay your $2,200 and you're on the primary ballot. That's it.
Wait, how much?
$2,200.
Okay, that's not jump. No one's doing this for a laugh. That's quite a bit of money, especially for a 16-year-old.
It's a lot of money for
now,
right? It's a lot of money for a goof that could be spent on a car or the worst vodka you can find.
Oh, I was thinking like spring break trip to Cancun.
Oh my God, I never went on one of those. So yeah, that makes so much more sense. Do that. Let's do that. The entrance of Lucy in the fray marked the end of the second phase of the meme's life cycle. Quote, meme gets adopted by a specific group. Meme now serves as a shibboleth, indicating membership of the group, and encourages feelings of belonging and insidership whenever it's encountered. Which was incredibly true for these group of 6 teenagers. A decent amount of them had actually reached out to Jack Burgesson on Facebook to ask him about running for office and if he's doing it seriously and if they should. And he encouraged literally anyone who asked him to run for office.
Hell yeah.
They often met each other during events where they were invited. They talked often. They seemed to all be pretty friendly with each other and were just kind of in an inside group that...
And I mean, they immediately have something in common, like not just the running, but clearly like a passion for poli-sci.
Right. Yeah. And which is kind of great when it's, not to be all Andrew Yang about this, but when you have 2 Democrats, 3 Republicans, and a libertarian coming together to talk about stuff, fucking A. This is great. I love it.
That's forward.
Yeah. God damn it. Not left, not right. Teenagers. So when Lucy entered, this would be the last Kansan teen to enter the primary, and the powers that be in the state were at the bit of the end of the rope. On November 7th, the Kansas Republican Party announced the rules for the primary gubernatorial debates, and there was one rule that seemed to be very pointed at the teenagers. And the rule stated that all debate participants had to have voted in the 2014 election.
Oh, that is fucking cold.
It's really fucked up. Tyler Rusich would supply the main quote for this, saying, quote, "The Republican Party is, when it comes to young people, in a major crisis. The party is really out of touch with young people."
Yeah. Good luck strangling yourself with your own noose, guys.
Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna have a really fun time with Jeff Collier and Chris Kobach on stage yelling at each other. But lucky for Jack, the Democratic Party wouldn't have this rule, and he was granted full participation in the debates.
Oh, damn.
Sensing that this might become a problem in future elections, the state legislature got to work at the beginning of the 2018 session to add at least some rules if you're going to be running for office.
Fucking narcs.
The duty of crafting the bill would fall to Republican State Representative Blake Carpenter. Blake first entered office in 2015 at the age of 24.
I mean, come on.
This feels like some narc shit that you find the youngest person to fucking stick it to the teenagers.
Yeah, here's the ladder now that you climbed up. Now pull it up with you.
Right, it is some cruel hello fellow kids. But Blake would reach out to at least one candidate to ask him what he thought. And it was Ethan Randlees of the now Libertarian Party. And he asked Ethan, hey, what rules should exist if you're running for office? Which, on one hand, it's like, all right, so you're asking one of the most ideological people running in this race what they think, but none of the others.
Yeah.
But also you're asking the guy who is the most likely to say, you change nothing, you fucking asshole. Fucking liberty, and then he fucking throws a snake. I don't know what libertarians do.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a ballsy move to reach out to the one libertarian on this. But Ethan responds, and Blake ends up taking all of his advice for the bill. So the bill now states that if you're running for governor, you got to be 25. And if you're running for any other state office, you got to be 18. There are some other things in the bill, but that's the main gist.
But what is that in dog years?
It's, oh my God, divided by 7. Older than, it's 4 or 3 to 4.
Gorgeous, a widow puppy.
Indeed. Hey, Brian, can a dog run for office? Some asshole calling, asking him every day, and he can't not answer it. I don't know, man. It's who can own free, who can own a rock. Quote, Ernest goes to camp. So at the end of January, Blake ends up introducing HB 2539. And it takes, you got to put a bill in line before people start voting for it. So we got to wait to see what's going to happen. I did forget one of the other things that the bill now had. Also, you now have to live in Kansas to run for office in Kansas.
No one exploited that loophole?
February 2018.
No one was in Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh my God, that shithole. The good part of Kansas City? Fuck off. I have no idea why I'm this angry about Kansas City, Missouri. But to your point, no one seems to have until February of 2018. And this is the month that the meme reaches stage 3. Quote, meme becomes mainstream. Everybody is using it at every opportunity. And its use as a shibboleth is negated. It gradually gets stale from overuse. Meme is hilarious to newcomers, but increasingly sterile and boring to older users. While Blake's bill is waiting in line at the State House, chaos is about to reign. On February 12th, the day starts out with some fairly sad news that Lucy Stayer is dropping out of the Secretary of State race due to having no time to actually run. This is an exceptional bummer because she probably would have done the best out of all the candidates. The only other candidate was a guy named Brian Bam McClendon. He is a very white man who was an angel investor for the company that would eventually become Google Earth.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, he's got that money.
Yeah.
He quit his job at Uber to run for Secretary of State in Kansas. And I get Lucy's decision. If you're running against a tech bro with all the money, and you don't have time to do anything aside from homework and volunteering to not even run. I get it.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Right. You still need to make sure that those college applications are reaching their destination if this falls apart.
Right. But also we started getting a huge rush of candidates. The first on that day being Angus Woolley. So Angus doesn't qualify in any regards. He's definitely a minor. He does live in Kansas. He is a dog.
Yes.
Angus is a 3-year-old wire-haired Vizsla. I'm gonna send you a picture of him.
Yes, send me a picture of Angus.
He's just the cutest. This is Angus.
Oh, that's a good boy.
He is a good boy.
He's a real good boy.
So yeah, I would highly recommend people look him up. He pretty much is like one of those medium-sized brown dogs that looks like a mutt, but somehow has paperwork. He's just adorable. So Angus's owner, Taryn, would announce his full support of the candidacy, saying, quote, "He's a good dog."
Yeah.
Angus also had a platform, which was, quote, "soft couches, Tempur-Pedic beds, free for life universal chuck it ball supplies, and a completely anti-squirrel agenda."
Love it. Yeah. Go. Don't just full parody.
Yeah. So the next day, I get the feeling that Brian Caskey was just kind of done with this. So a different person, Samantha Potter of the Secretaries of State office, would be the one to have to announce that Angus would not be allowed on the ballot. Quote, "A dog cannot run for governor. Kansas statute and the Kansas Constitution make repeated references to a person being governor, nor can a dog carry out the statutory and constitutional duties required of a governor." Phone slam.
Okay, but do you know that for sure?
It's alluded.
Have you spoken to a vegan recently? Because they will tell you that animals are people too.
Look, I mean, my dog uses buttons to tell me stuff. And, Angus is, from what I've heard, is a good boy. And
you just need an A and nay button.
Right?
Button.
You put his paw in ink and he can sign bills that way.
Yeah.
It could be much worse than Sam Brownback.
Yes, exactly.
But alas, Angus would be refused ballot access. And
this disenfranchisement.
I don't know if you believe in curses, Una, but I do. I think that refusal kicked off a curse. And that curse was more teenagers. And not just teenagers, out-of-state teenagers. On February 15th, Connor Shelton, an 18-year-old freshman at the University of Delaware, entered the gubernatorial race in Kansas. As with memes, once it breaks containment and goes into the wilder world, who knows what's going to happen? And what ended up occurring, while Blake Carpenter's bill was trying to get through the legislature as fast as it could, 8 teenagers from out of state filed to run for governor. One was from Canada.
Oh, that's bold. I love that.
It's a hell of a move. From what I could
tell me no. Come on.
Well, from what I could tell, the dude who did it was from Arkansas, but was studying at McGill University in Ontario. So there is that. All right. There is the last person to apply is a woman named Gabrielle Zwie, who is currently probably the most famous out of all of them. She is a folk artist, if I remember right. Yeah, she's one of those ukulele singers who does folk music. Nice. Oh, does bossa nova, actually.
Ooh.
He is a Zoomer bossa nova person.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, she was one of the last people to enter into the race to run for governor. And people are not happy.
Kansas should be so lucky.
I know, right? And so, with all of this going on, Blake Carpenter's bill finally gets an audience with the state house. Overwhelmingly, they vote to pass it. It goes to the Senate. It has a little bit of a hiccup because someone wants to add an amendment that everyone agrees on. And the amendment is, if you're running for attorney general, you should be licensed to practice law.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
because with that license, it also means like if you've been disbarred, you don't have a license,
right? And
probably shouldn't be attorney general. Period.
Right, but I assume Kansas's original motto was, well, it goes without saying. But on October 18th, 2 weeks before the filing deadline, the law was passed. However, it would not take effect until January 1st of 2019, meaning that the already qualified teenagers could still run.
But yes.
Tyler Ruzich in particular found it really funny, though, that if he did win, the law would make it illegal for him to run for re-election since he'd only be 24. Right? So now that's dealt with. The state turned their focus on all these out-of-state hooligans who are trying to mess up our electoral system. And this ended up having a much simpler solution. Attorney General Derek Schmidt filed a lawsuit to kick all of the out-of-staters off the 2018 ballot. The day before the filing deadline, Judge Teresa L. Watson of the District Court of Shawnee County found there was enough in current Kansas law to require gubernatorial candidates live in Kansas. And by this point, the local teen movement had pretty much begun to falter. Ethan Randlees lost the Libertarian nomination, but he would go to work for their nominee, Jeffrey Caldwell. And following the election, Ethan would get a youth outreach position within the state party. Dominic Scavuzzo dropped out of the race 5 days before the filing deadline and agreed to run as lieutenant governor in Tyler Ruzich's campaign. When the deadline of June 1st passed, the only remaining teen candidates for governor on the ballot were Jack Burgerson for the Democrats and Tyler Ruzich and Joseph Tutera Jr. for the Republicans. But wait, there's one last out-of-state person who kind of slipped through the cracks here. It's a person who's running for attorney general. They're from Massachusetts. And according to this, their name is Vermin Love Supreme.
Vermin! Oh my gosh!
That's right, fuckers. It's a surprise Vermin Supreme coming to fuck with everything you hold dear and throw glitter all over the fucking court.
Yeah, love bomb us, Vermin.
So when all these teens were running for office from out of state, Vermin was like, fuck it, I like a joke. And out of everyone who was running as a joke, he was the one who got to fucking stay on. I love it. Anyway, so he does end up getting through the first filing deadline. And in response to this, Kansas GOP Executive Director Jim Joyce filed an objection with the Secretary of State. The Kansas State Elections Board held a hearing on June 11th where Vermin and his legal team presented their case. They did note the lack of residency requirements, which were already on record, but they did show proof that Vermin had obtained a rental property in the state that was charging him $1 a month.
Aha!
They also stated that the court order that Derek Schmidt had initially gotten seemed to only apply to people running for governor and not other positions. Rather than being fun and let it ride, the election board kicked Vermin off the ballot, stating that while the law doesn't have residency requirements, it's clear that other laws heavily imply that candidates have to be from Kansas.
Implied, but not in fact. Come on now.
Vermin would file a lawsuit against the Secretary of State's office, but it was swiftly thrown out. And honestly, that's your loss, Kansas.
Yep.
And really, the Attorney General probably shouldn't be, siding on the issue of who gets to run for Attorney General, but that's just me. As for the remaining teens, none were able to gain sufficient support by the August primaries. Jack Burgerson would be the most successful, netting 3,950 votes, which is good enough for last place and 2.5% of the vote. Tyler Ruzich got 2,275 votes, and Joseph Tutera got 1,559 votes, which placed them in last and next to last. But even these numbers were enough for some people to lose their fucking mind. As I said in the beginning of this episode, Chris Kobach got the upset primary win, and after recounts, he won by a margin of 350 votes.
Oh.
So you know what that means. Weird fucking internet people start going after Tyler and Joseph for running.
No.
For them being fucking spoiler candidates, for ruining everything, for dooming the GOP, for having to support Chris Kobach.
No, you made your bed, GOP.
Look, no, there's a voice of reason on this. Professor Russell Fox chimes in from Friends University.
No, he's no friend of mine.
He states, quote, "In a normal election, we would not say 3,700 votes was a substantive chunk, but under the election results we actually have, 3,700 votes is more than enough to make a huge difference," heavily implying that these teenagers fucked up the election.
And that right there is some boy math.
Yeah, once again, as we've said many times, there are no spoiler candidates. You either win a vote or you don't. And I highly doubt that anyone who was like hemming and hawing between Jeff Collier and Chris Kobach would be like, well, you know what? This moderate teenager is the way I'm going to go. Like, you know what? I like Tyler Ruzich and his expansion of Medicaid.
Yeah, no, there were actually just, 300 some odd more people who are like, Chris Kobach, you know what?
Yeah.
I like this jib.
Like, I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm sorry you didn't do just a little more work.
Burn.
But even with, suddenly becoming enemies of the party for fucking up the election, Joseph Tutera had only good things to say. Quote, "It's the first time in 8 months I'm bummed out. It was such a great election. I had a lot of fun doing it and I met a lot of cool people. I'm just sad it's over. And this is the stage 4 of a meme. Quote, meme effectively dies." As we said in the beginning, Laura Kelly would end up winning the election. Kansas seems to have been doing all right. I haven't really
Yeah.
followed, local Kansan news.
But I feel like no news is good news.
Exactly. Yeah. There's nothing horrible seems to be coming from there at the moment. But what happened to all these cool kids?
Yeah.
Well, none of them have attempted to run for office since, but that's mostly because they've been at college. Jack
Aw.
Burgess would graduate from North Dakota State in 2023 with a degree in political science. Tyler Rusich left Twitter in 2020 and kind of seems to have left social media entirely at around that time.
Good for
But
him.
based on his profile photo and his tweets, he kind of seems to have turned hard left since the election.
Oh, okay, Ty Ty.
His last ever post says, quote, "My proudest achievement, being the youngest person to receive an F rating from the NRA."
Oh,
Ethan Randlees would graduate from Wichita State in 2022. As of now, he no longer holds a position with the Libertarian Party of Kansas. Dominic Scavuzzo seems to have been the busiest of the bunch. True to his word, he did major in poli-sci and did so at Loyola University of Chicago in 2021.
hey.
And he is currently enrolled in law school at Notre Dame.
Oh, very nice.
He's also racked up a very lengthy intern resume after working with the Charles Koch Institute, the Capital Research Center, the Heritage Foundation, the American Conservative Union, and was a program assistant at George Mason's Law School, or as it's infamously known, the Antonin Scalia School of Law,
Yeah.
or ASLaw. Joseph Totera is a senior at Texas Christian University where he's studying finance. And he's also somehow had the time to found his own company called DocuCare, which seeks to help complete medical paperwork with the use of AI. Which sounds terrible because when I hear AI, it's like, oh no, it's going to be awful. I showed this to a couple of folks in the medical profession. They said, yeah, if this is implemented right, this could be really great.
Right,
but
with humans at the helm.
Right. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
Lucy Stayer graduated from Emporia State University in 2022 with a degree in poli-sci. Currently, she's a board member of the Kansas Young Democrats and works as a program specialist for the nonprofit org KC Mothers in Charge. And I really wish I could end on that note. I truly do. But I haven't been entirely honest with you. I've been hiding a teenager from you. That sounds, wow, I should have thought that through. Even before Jack Burgess entered the race, there was another teenager who had announced that he was running. He didn't file paperwork. He didn't really campaign. When his name was brought up to Jack or Tyler or Ethan, they often said they hadn't met him, they'd heard of him, but they didn't even know if he was running anymore. To them, he was just kind of a mystery. And while he didn't make the ballot for governor, he would run for office, state representative, to be exact. And in the process, he revealed himself to be one of the most monstrous Zoomers to ever enter politics.
Oh, no.
Next week, we continue the story of Kansas teens running for office. Only this time we're going to focus entirely on the fucking awful Aaron Coleman.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so...
Ah,
woo.
what a cliffhanger.
I cannot tell you how angry I was when I saw that name pop up because it's like, no, this is just about Ethan and Tyler and Jake and Joseph.
Jake and,
Dominic, fucking Dommy,
Damn, Dom.
Lucy. It's
He's
just
the one to
those
look
people.
out for. Yeah, Lucy, she's doing great.
But nah, and then that name popped up. It's like, I know that name, and I want it to be another Aaron Coleman. Heads up to everyone, if you're going to listen next week to Aaron Coleman, it's a trigger warning from the jump. So we might see you in a month, I guess. But yeah, thoughts, ideas, feelings?
Well, as you were giving me the rundown of what all the kiddos are up to, in my head, I was imagining it as like the end of a coming of age movie where like they freeze frame on an actor or like the character, and it's like so and so ended up marrying their high school sweetheart. Blah blah. I don't know.
100%. I just watched Killer, Totally Killer, and the movie ends with one of those. So that's what was going on the whole time. But, yeah.
Nice. I for one relish the youth as because I also feel like the millennials, we just kind of like did not invest in public office.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so excited to see the Zoomers do it.
Right. And honestly, I don't get it. I don't get why that's actually a law. Like, maybe we should lower the voting age. Maybe, maybe it should be a thing that you should have to be able to vote for yourself if you're going to run. But, weirder things have happened. Maybe it's good to have a teenager on a stage telling us what they think.
Mm-hmm.
Vermont still does it. I think you can still be a teenager and run for office in Vermont. If I remember right, there was a 14-year-old who ran for governor and, the state didn't burn down.
Yeah.
But But yeah, so that's the story of that. I was really excited when it was happening in 2018 and just seeing all these people adding on, but I really wish we could have ended on a happier note.
I mean, I love Pylon.
Yeah, yeah. Well, y'all, thank you for joining us this week, especially as the electoral system's going nuts. Just as a heads up, the Socialist Party USA is having their convention on the 20th. So we're going to find out who the hell they nominate. We might do an episode, we might not. Depends on who they nominate, if they nominate. Yeah, I guess that's everything. But yeah, thank you for joining us this week, and we'll see you next time here on Gadfly. Olivia Rodrigo music.
No.
It's what the kids listen to.
Yeah.
Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?